بدأنا بسم الله وبالصلاة الله
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على خاتم النبيين أما بعد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear brothers and sisters, if you want to achieve greatness, if you want to be great or do something that is remarkable in your life, first and foremost, and you're going to be surprised what I'm going to tell you here, is that you cannot have a backup plan. Everybody will tell you, oh, have a plan B, plan C, plan D, all these other alternatives. But if you really want to do something that's great, do not have a backup plan. Do not, meaning you have this vision in your head, you think that you can accomplish it, you have no escape. Usually people say, oh yeah, I want to do that, but oh yeah, plan B because I couldn't get it, because some hurdles came in front of me, and therefore I couldn't jump it, and my ma called out, and and then you gone to plan D, and then obviously you don't get anywhere because you're always diluting your major goal that you're looking forward to. So right away have no backup. You know those guys who go on the rope, and then they have this big long stick. When the ones who are going on the rope and they have the stick with them and they're practicing, they keep falling in the net, But when they're doing it for real and they know concrete is below, they're very, very careful. Seldom do they ever fall, because they have to measure their steps, and they know they have to have this stick, and then if they fall they have to grab onto something. So it is extremely important that you understand that you should not have a backup plan, meaning you have one plan, you should try to change all your actions to get to that plan. Obviously it has to be moral, it has to be something that is good. I'm not saying doing trickery or thievery or something that is unethical. I'm saying something that's great. You want to open an orphanage, you want to help the poor, you want to have a soup kitchen, you want to have a program for the youth, you want to have so many things. You can actually do that. To tell yourself, I have to actually cross the Rubicon, meaning that you have crossed this river. It was Caesar that actually came over the Rubicon, the river. That's why in the English language they say the Rubicon, because once Caesar crossed that, and Rome in Italy had said do not cross that because they wanted to take the power away from Caesar. He was the head of the army. Once he crossed, he sacked Rome, and he actually became the great Caesar, quote unquote, killing and plundering all over the world. But he was supposed to be that great because he actually crossed the Rubicon. That's why they said don't cross the Rubicon, meaning there's a point of no return. So therefore, if you want to be great, do not have a backup plan. Second, people who want to do great things, they have to be able to work. Now, talk is sometimes always, cheap talk is cheap talk. Talk that has thought, that's a different story. But you have to be able to work, you have to be able to get up, you have to be able to do, you have to be able to move. You can't just sit there and say, oh, I want to have we want to run a masjid, but we don't want to do anything with it. Well, we want to build a masjid, but what do we do after that? We want to have a program, but we need to have an Islamic school, but we really don't want to put any effort in it, and it just grows by itself and does by itself and moves by itself. It doesn't happen like that. You have to be able to work. Thirdly, you have to avoid this crowd mentality, like everybody's doing the same thing, same kind of masjid. You gotta have a dome, gotta have a minaret, gotta have a thing, I gotta have this. Wudu areas gotta look like straight out of Karachi or straight out of Dubai. It cannot be like that. You have to think outside the box. You have to think other than the crowds. If you want to do great things in your life, you can't keep repeating what everybody else is repeating. I'm not saying keep inventing the wheel that's already invented. I'm not saying, okay, now instead of bringing a window, bring in something that's, inside a glass and prism and all those other things. No. What I'm saying is that if you want to do something that's great, you have to start thinking outside of the box itself. You can't think what everybody else is thinking, and you have to be able to go against sometimes pressure, because there's always pressure to conform, and you have to be able to break that pressure. The inside pressure has to be greater than the outside pressure, just like a tire in a car, because if there's too much pressure on the outside and the tire can't hold it, it bursts. That's why the tire pressure is always there in order to keep the car afloat. Now, fourthly, if you want to do great things, you have to actually look at the end result. What is the end result? You want to have this, then you have to work backwards, right? So that you have to work back from where you wanted to actually end up. So you have to be able to see the last thing. You can't say, oh, you know, I don't know whether how far we'll reach, where we'll reach, where we'll go. I don't know what's going to happen. Because when I told them, oh, we need to have 4th floor and a basement, and I told them we really need to have 8 floors. That's why the footing is for 8 floors. So inshallah, we're seeing the end, because we need to have our Quran Academy, we need to have an Arabic Institute Language Academy. We have to have full-time these things. So you have to be able to think it. If you want to make a university level course, you need to have a place, you need to have professional people. So all those things you need to start at the end and then come back. And fifthly, you just don't stop there. Once you accomplish something, you just say, oh, okay, it's finished, it's done, okay, now I tie my hands and that's it. No, you improve it and then you go on to something else. Why would you actually want to stop? If you want to be one of the few ones who actually do great things, you have to be always constantly moving, and at least moving for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you're only moving for your own sake, for your nafs, you'll never be able to do anything. You'll never be able to accomplish anything. If you're doing it for your nafs, Allah will not help you with that. But if you're doing it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and at least everyone has their own inside you gotta fight with, but really if you need, He's the one who will be able to put you forward to that. So you have to be able to have this endeavor into your heart and then work steadily. And not stealthily, but steadily. You have to be able to work steady. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you, and I pray you're one of the great ones so you can do great things. Remember, don't have a backup plan. Do something that's great. May Allah bless you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.